Soup, soup, let's start the show.
Welcome to the Neverdaily podcast, episode something in the 300s. That's crazy.
I think we're pushing 320s almost.
It's 321. I think this is 321. And I got to drop some. Everybody in the back door, they're here, they listen to it and everything, but everybody outside the back door is like, where's the Neverdaily? Because I suck at doing things.
You're just creating a demand, just like a drug dealer.
That's what it is. As I slowly strangle our Patreon subscriber base. Yes, that's what it is. It's a strategy, people.
Yeah, join Patreon and you'll just get all the episodes the second we're recording it. The very second.
Yeah, it's great. Welcome to the Neverdaily podcast, where we have been fighting the powers of justice since I was gonna try to look up the original date. When did this thing kick off? When did we? Because it'd be extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find that while we're talking here. 308.
It's a lot of
308. Ooh, that's embarrassing. 308 is what I've posted. Huh? Is that that can't be right. Oh, there's probably some like extra bonus and some like not other stuff. I don't know. Anyway.
Or they weren't tagged.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you don't tag them, then it throws the counts off.
I want to say we've been doing this. I've got it right here. Let me see.
I could find it, but I'd have to pull out a hard drive.
Yeah.
But it's not plugged in right now.
That's what I always have to do, because, like, believe it or not, when each video episode is like 3 gigabytes, it really eats up your hard drive quick. Who knew?
I think I'm on, like, just with like all the stuff I've edited for you, I'm on like my 3rd terabyte.
Oh,
like,
really? Yeah. I'll bet.
3rd external, terabyte, flash drive or whatever.
Well, if you're like me, editing over a network or anything like that's a pain in the butt. So you'll drop your like big giant 3 gigabyte, 4 gigabyte video file like in your downloads or somewhere locally, edit your video, and then you inevitably ended up uploading it to 2 places at least, like Google Drive, and then when you upload it for hosting, and then before you know it, you got like 3 or 4 copies of a 4 gigabyte file sitting in random locations. And then you don't remember which one is the newest, or was this one with an edit in it. It's a treat. It's fun. Okay, I got it here. First episode that we dropped of the show was August 15th, 2022.
Ooh, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. So happy birthday to us and all your good men.
We're out of the terrible 2s, though.
Yeah, we got through the terrible 2s.
Yep.
And we just keep going. We just keep going because we don't know any better.
Why? No one knows why, but we keep doing
it. What I was gonna say? It's a podcast, Sam. Keep your brain and mouth going. I've got some interesting stuff today. I've got some. Believe it or not, I have something I'm bringing that was a question that arose. This is super crazy, but a question that arose by a scientist in 1688. A question he had, and we really didn't answer it until 2011. That's crazy, and I'm gonna bring you the juice today on that. I'm bringing the heat on that one.
Here's what you should do. Just like a lot of Instagram videos, you should just tease the actual answer and then never, ever, ever say it.
Yeah. Or do what TikTok does, and I'll just put part 1 in the bottom, and then right before the climax of the video, I will never post part 2.
Yeah.
I can't stand. One thing I do like about Instagram that I hate about TikTok is, unless they've changed it, because I haven't like doom scrolled TikTok in a hot decade.
Good.
But Instagram, if you watch a reel in Instagram and then you're like, oh, that was interesting, and you click through to the channel, the one that you just watched is like kind of blurred out and it says recently watched. TikTok doesn't do that though. They're just like, good luck. We're not even going to show you like where that one was or anything. And what's really maddening is you could be watching a TikTok reel from like 4 years ago in their feed. And so finding anything, the other thing that's really interesting to me, and I feel like I might have said this before, but for as data hungry and data intense as social media platforms are, and the algorithm wants specific titles and that it'll read your videos, the text on the screen of a video, and for all the power that it is and hashtags and all the descriptions and everything, search functionality on social media is absolute trash.
I think it's on
Like,
purpose.
the other day I was looking for a storybook author that I followed a long time ago, and it was impossible to find. Like, there's no like breaking it down, like search. So I searched storybook illustrations or storybook illustrator, and there's like no way to just search the people I follow versus the rest of the universe. And then it's crazy to me that search isn't a more, I don't know. I guess what it is they don't want their platforms to be used for reference. They don't make money on that. They want, because if you're intentional and you search for something and then you find it and you consume that content, you just bypassed all of their ad network mechanisms. So they don't want you to use them for them. They want you to use it for scrolling and finding new stuff. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
They're just trying to get their hook in you. They don't want you to be focused on anything in particular.
yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I've been trying to disconnect in the day, because I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I would I'd put myself in the creator bucket, you know?
I would hope so.
Probably I wouldn't say influencer by a long shot, because I'm not quite sure. It takes a special person to be a podcaster and an influencer. The medium isn't well known for that. I would say there are definitely influencers in podcasting, but the majority of people, like if you looked at the sea of podcasts, it's a giant regurgitation machine.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's repurposing something. It's not really, it can be, don't get me wrong, but it's not like thought leaders cranking all day long. Thought leaders are like, no, if I want immediate rubber meets the road, I go to social media and I do reels and TikToks and all that stuff. So, but even as a creator, I find that finding your footing can be really hard. And also sometimes, do you ever wake up in the morning, Chase, and you're like, so I take stories that other people did and I just make episodes about it.
Yeah. I just read lots of news articles, books,
that
essays,
other people
court
did.
documents, and then I tell people what I read.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
it's a funny it's funny when you think of kind of what it is that, you know, and then you're just hoping you get enough of a slice of the listening population out there that's like, no, I like it when this guy collects all the information for me and does it, you know.
They basically are liking the way your brain organizes information. That's
Yeah.
pretty much, that's all it is I like how his brain works and how he speaks into microphones.
I'm so I'm anti I was talking to another podcaster the other day and they were like, one thing we try not we just avoid the big six, which in true crime, if you say the big six, you're probably you're talking about the meat and potatoes serial killers everybody's heard of.
Mhm.
And so you get that. It's always funny when a show kicks off and it gets a little bit of momentum, and then people are like, "Do Bundy." You're like, why?
Why?
There is a bit of a. I understand it to a certain degree. It's sort of like if I said to you, if you could have Anthony Hopkins sit on a chair next to you while you're on a comfy couch and just read you stories, I'd be like, heck yeah, or
Do
like
it.
certain voice. So I get it that like certain people want to hear like not necessarily a take, because there's no new takes.
The one I would, if someone's like, "Hey, you can have George Goodall just narrate your whole life," I'd be like, "Yes, please,
Yeah,
and thank you."
right. Yeah, there's certain people where like their voice means a lot to us, right?
Hmm.
It'd be weird to get an unvarnished take from like a British documentarian, like a nature documentarian, like who you're like, could you do my life? And then but you don't give him any direction. So you're in for whatever he's going to do. And then he comes and he's like, Sam wakes up in the morning. To the rest of the world, they know he's unsure about himself. like he gives you the take that he sees, not
Yeah,
like what you want him to say.
I would
It's sort of like
also.
a funeral eulogy. You're like, you don't have any control over it. You better
Yeah,
hope,
I would also hope that whoever narrates it does a Benedict Cumberbatch penguin,
penguin,
where
ping.
there's just certain
Oh
words
man,
that they say about 100 different ways, and it's never the correct way.
that's right. It's fun that way, I
Yeah,
find.
the spice of
All right,
life.
well, how about I give you a couple nuggets from our friends at This Is True.
Okay.
I just really like this stuff. I don't know if other people do. I just do. Um, Killer is literally the name of a protein bar introduced by Joe Wicks and Dr. Chris Van Tullochen. Like other protein bars, it trumpets health claims and vitamin counts. Like other protein bars, it has ingredients like emulsifiers and ultra-processed sweeteners.
Mm.
Unlike other protein bars, it features a cartoon of an extremely sick man with Wicks himself, the guy, one of the Joe Wicks, the founder. Van Tullochen is a medical doctor and opponent of processed foods. The bar was presented to the audience of Joe Wicks' Licensed to Kill show on the UK's Channel 4. Van Tullochen says ultra-processed food would more accurately be called an industrially produced edible substance
Sounds good.
instead of food. But he also says Killer is a real product and it's intended to be sold for the people. I love that. I love that because he's like, look, I'm just laying it out for you like it is,
Mhm.
We talked a little bit about Mr. Beast products, and it's like it's hilariously ironic how terrible they are for you. And really it should be a bit of a giant glowing neon sign when you see like a parent that gets their kid the Mr. Beast chocolate peanut butter cup that's the
Mhm.
size of a soup bowl. It should be like it should be like a commentary on our society. I love that Pringles can't call their product potato chips
Yeah.
because it has such a low potato content that they have to call them potato crisps. Oh man, it's crazy. I
'Cause
love
they
that.
make.
Killer.
Just watch the video. You can see the video of how they make Pringles chips. It's a paste.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's no.
I still eat
It
them.
really. Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
and
still eat them.
it's I would say the product is more engineering than food processing. They're like, what shape and thickness, diameter,
Mm-hmm.
curve, what shape can we create to put the most content into X package? And that was the question they answered. And then they answered it by creating the engineering
Mm-hmm.
to produce said product. You know, it's very forward thinking if you think about it. It's kind of like space age.
Yeah.
Like you would think that way if you had to put a bunch of food onto a spaceship headed for Mars, you know?
Mm-hmm. Don't die.
I'm dying, guys. I'm dying.
Oh, before I forget, Happy Veterans Day.
Yeah. Happy Veterans Day for all those who serve. Oh man. Okay, I got another one for you.
Okay, from our friends.
Employees at the Sequoia Park Zoo in Eureka, California, were doing their morning walkthrough when they spotted a visitor leaning over a railing to interact with the zoo's 3 bears. A wild bear. Rest assured, the bear is not aggressive and seems more curious than anything else, perhaps hoping to apply for a membership, the zoo said, posting a photo. Still, the zoo. Oh, okay. Wait, did you pick that up?
The bear was visiting the zoo.
The bear was visiting the zoo. Yeah. So it was a wild bear reaching over. So they said, rest assured, the bear is not aggressive and seems more curious than anything else, perhaps hoping to apply for membership. The zoo said, posting a photo. Still, the zoo immediately implemented. I'm glad they did this. Implemented its emergency plan, which includes calling in local police. Quote, it's not every day we find ourselves helping with crowd control for a bear who doesn't quite understand stay behind the railings, the department said. After a brief exploration of the enrichment items around the night house, the zoo said, the bear was safely coaxed back into the woods through a service gate, but admitted it can't figure out how the bear got inside the perimeter fence to begin with. Yeah, I would say you'd want to figure that little security loophole out before you let the next kindergarten crew
Yeah.
into your facility.
Bears are pretty smart. I was watching one of my favorite YouTube channels. It's called Matt's Off-Road Recovery, and it's exactly as it sounds. But they went and did a job in California. They're actually from where I used to live in Utah, in Hurricane. Like, I used to drive by their main shop all the time.
Are they
And-
the ones that do it for free?
Yeah, he does most of his jobs for free. Yeah,
Like
'Cause
people
he
that are
uses
watching the live feed will donate?
No, what usually happens is he'll just not charge people because if he uses it for content, he won't charge because it's like he makes his money
Okay.
off the content.
Cool.
But yeah, he went to he goes all over like the Western United States because there's a lot of stuff people won't touch and he'll go do it. And so he went to Southern California, or no, he went to Tahoe, and they're staying the night because it's a long drive. And in the middle of the night, their truck alarm's going off. They go outside, and there's a bear in their truck. And he buys the cheap little pies. He calls them victory pies, and he eats one when he does a successful rescue job. The bear's sitting in the literally sitting in the passenger seat, just eating the pies. And he just walks up and knocks on the window, and it does like one of those, oh crap, and then it darts out the door of the truck. And so they're just like, oh my gosh, luckily it didn't like tear anything up. Like there were some scuffs and stuff, but they're like, it was very gentle with our seats and stuff. And so they're like, whatever. They shut the door. They hit their lock button. They're like, oh, we forgot to lock the truck. They go inside. Like 30 minutes later, the truck alarm's going off. They go outside. The bear's back in the truck.
Open the door.
Yeah, open the door. And they're just like, how is it? The truck is locked. Like they didn't break anything. Like everything works. Well, that's when they found out that their driver's side door doesn't lock when you press the key fob. So he's like, look, here's the problem. He pushes the lock and the lock thing just stays up. And so he's like, this bear just literally is going around the neighborhood, just checking door handles, getting into cars if there's food. And he's like, these things are smart. And his son's like, that's literally their job now. Like that's how they eat, is they have to figure out how to get into cars and people's houses now because that's
Yeah.
what they do.
Public
And
campsites, if they have trash receptacles at all, they're like there's like a Gorgon knot of that had a baby with a Rubik's cube that is the fastener for the lid
yeah.
because you have to be smarter than a bear in order to operate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
But this bear's just literally going through neighborhoods and just checking. It's not breaking anything. It's just checking door handles. That's all they're
That's
doing.
crazy. Did you see the video this week that kind of made the rounds of the guy that trained an octopus to play the piano?
I believe
Yeah,
it
it
though.
took him like 6 months, but the octopus can play the piano now.
Octopus are supposed to be one of their top 5 smartest creatures on the planet.
They're super smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that brought, I mean, my heart was about to pluck its strings for my octopus teacher documentary that I mentioned before. I love that one. I got another one. Like, we sat down last night to watch TV, and every night it's sort of like when you go to a restaurant, you're like, what do I feel like eating?
Mm-hmm.
Some nights we're like, are we interested in watching the next episode of whatever show we're in the middle of? Or do we feel like watching something else? Rarely on a weeknight are we like, let's watch a whole movie,
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes documentary just feels right, So last night, my wife was like, I heard of this new documentary if you want to watch it. She thought it was a TV series. It's on Netflix. And I was like, well, what is it? And she said, it's called The Quilters. And I was like, that sounds boring. Super boring.
Is it the one with the inmates?
Yes.
I want to watch. It's on my list.
Dude, okay. I won't give anything away. I'm just going to set it up for you, though. It's not a TV series. It's like 38 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch it, you'll wish there was 38 episodes. And all I will say is I'm getting chills right now as I'm talking about it. We're watching it. We're like only 10 minutes into it.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly my wife's like, I'm not doing well. I look over and she's been bawling since like the first minute.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, are you okay? I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice. She's like, I'm fine. This is just really getting to me.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. And I'm not even going to try to describe it. It's just.
Yeah, I saw it's on the Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And I saw the little preview for it, and I'm just like, that looks like it's going to be a tearjerker. That one's probably going to get me.
I would say this, don't even watch the preview or the trailer or whatever. Just jump right in feet first.
Mm-hmm.
It's 38 minutes of your life. And I will go as far as to say it might ignite in you good things. That's all I'll say. It just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll move on because I'll start giving stuff away. Wow, it was good though. So
Yeah.
what'd you bring?
Well, first, Are
you flipping me off? Oh,
yeah, no, I cut the
ring
tip
finger.
of my finger off.
You cut it off?
Just a chunk and part of the nail. With a
Oh,
knife.
how'd you do that?
Well, I was helping my wife with dinner, and apparently she wanted to make like 2 metric tons of pico de gallo. So I had to chop up like 14 Roma tomatoes into little tiny cubes. So I was just and then I started, about tomato number 12 or 13. I just was like, I'm done with this. And I started moving too fast for what I was doing. I have pretty good knife skills, but also after about like the 13th or 14th tomato that you're dicing, you're just like, I want this to be done. Bink.
Yeah.
And we had to throw that tomato out because there's a chunk of my finger and fingernail just went through all the way. So yeah, now I just have this nice little, I get to walk around my finger all bandaged up till the chunk grows back, which is gonna be
It's not like stitch worthy or
no,
like,
because it's like there's nothing to stitch because it's just
yeah,
like
it's just,
a chunk is gone. Like
yeah.
yeah, there's nothing to like pull together. It's just I'm missing a part of myself now forever.
I remember when Mona was like 2, she did that to the end of her finger and it was just a red circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing left. It just
Yep.
took it off. And we're like, but I couldn't get it to stop bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took her to the the fast doc,
Instacare.
Yeah, Instacare. What was funny was by the time we went in, like it didn't hurt either. And so she would pull it out of the wad of napkins that we had her holding it in and just sort of dot, 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 dot. She just so her shirt had dots all over it. I have video of her sitting in the doctor's on the doctor's table, and she forgets that it's a wound, and she's
Yeah.
like playing with her hands, and it's like dripping. It was crazy, but yeah, it's one of those kinds of things where it's like it's hard when you've got something where you're like, oh, it's bleeding, but there's nothing to close, there's nothing to stitch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the inside of your skin going, I'm free.
Yep. Look
It's
at how much
crazy.
air there is.
Yeah,
It's open
it
air.
was.
Yeah.
They ended up just gluing it shut.
Yeah, I remember. It's one of my earliest memories of. So when I was a little kid, I went and tried to. I was like, oh, I want a banana, and I'm a big enough kid to go get it myself. And instead of just pulling a banana off the bunch of bananas, I was like, I'm a big kid, I can use a knife. So I went and got a steak knife, and I was messing around, and I just cut open my finger. You might be able to see the scar, probably not.
I'm sure it's there.
I have a happy face scar, and I've had it since I was like 4 or 5 years old. And they had to put me on the crucifix board at the ER. Have you ever seen those?
For kids?
For kids, yeah. I have bad memories of the crucifix board where they Velcro you down in just like you're on the cross, so that they can then stitch. I had to get like 7 or 8 stitches. Like I saw the bone and all the things in my finger, and so that I still have memories of that. It's one of my earliest memories, I think. Oh, my mom says she's back there. She said I was 3.
You were 3. Oh, I was wondering how. The
Yeah.
person was like, you were 3.
So yeah,
like, how do you
one
know
of my
that, man?
earliest memories as a child is being in the ER and getting strapped to a blue board with Velcro straps all over it and screaming bloody murder the whole time.
Wouldn't it be funny to learn in your mind you thought that happened at the ER, but it was at church?
Whoopsies.
Oh, suddenly the whole memory's unlocked.
Yeah.
Everybody's seen it at this point, but I just think the one that they used was so adorable. Have you seen the X-ray tube that they use for infants?
Yeah.
It's like arms are up and it's just kind of staring at the camera like, what do I do now?
Yeah. What do I do? And then you're just like, you're going to be claustrophobic as an adult for sure.
I'm super not claustrophobic. And I look at that picture and I'm like, oh, that looks comfy. I don't know.
I'm a weird version of claustrophobic where it's like if I can move just a little bit, I'm okay. But if there's no movement, that's when I start to like panic. Like if I can't move at all, like I don't have like an inch to move, then I'm like, okay, this is real. I remember one time just, teenage boys, you do dumb stuff. We were literally out playing like WWF in my friend's front yard, and somehow I ended up at the bottom of a dog pile, and I don't know how, but I lifted 3 people off of me, and everyone was just like, it was one of those things where everyone just went quiet, because it's just like, how did you do that? And I was like, I panicked. Like I just had like the full on like adrenaline strength, and I literally just I like bench pressed my 3 friends off of me.
That subhuman switch flip that your brain does, right?
And it was because I couldn't move. Like I was at the bottom of like a dog pile, and I literally couldn't move anything at all. And so I panicked and just went straight Hulk mode. Just threw everyone off. And then it was just kind of like, how did that? We all, like, even me, I was like, how did I do that? Like all my,
Yeah.
like we were all big, like me and all my friends were all big kids. Like none of them were skinny. Like we were all chubbers. And like, it was just like, how did this happen?
It's crazy. Yeah, the only thing where I'm like, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that is watching spelunkers,
Oh yeah.
cave guys, where they're like, and I'll just make it through this little air, because like other animals, they know whether or not they can get through something because there's a part of their body where they're like, well, I put this through first, and if that can get through, I know the rest of my body just, it'll just take a little time, but I can get the rest of my body through it. Humans aren't built that way. We're built in an hourglass shape where it's like, yeah, you could maybe get your head and your shoulders through there, but surprise,
Mm-hmm.
you get your hips locked into there. Oh, also surprise, we didn't really build your body for reverse motion when you are completely immobile. And then the other part that I'm not quite sure I'm totally cool with is when they're in those really tight spaces and it's not meant for humans. And then the thought of you're like, okay, there's a couple billion tons of mountain above me.
Yeah.
All the mountain has to do is go. And you're just like, just a couple inches of the mountain just goes, I'm going to shrug now.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
I had
You're
some of my cousins used to go spelunking, and they're telling me about it, and I was just like, yeah, because I love caves. Like I don't know why, but I just love caves. I like being in caves. But they were talking about like you're talking about the really tight, narrow stuff where you're like exploring new branches and stuff. And I remember my cousin be like, oh yeah, there's this one cave we go to all the time, and not everyone can go through the little pinch point. And he's like, I can make it, but I have to exhale all of the breath out of my lungs.
yeah.
And then someone has to shove me. And I'm just like, what happens if you get stuck and you can't breathe in anymore? Cause you had to exhale to get into that spot.
Right.
And what if you get stuck? You can't breathe in now. Like you're
you lost that other part of survival.
Yeah. And he's like, it's just part of the fun. I was like, that doesn't sound like fun. That's not fun.
I took, the family to right outside Coeur d'Alene. We were going to the Hiawatha Trail, which is an awesome, it's this bike route, and it's like miles long. You cross like 8 giant trestle bridges and stuff on your bikes.
Mm-hmm.
What's crazy about it is where you start is at just a slight, like almost imperceptible downhill grade. So it takes no effort to do this, like, it's like 8 or 13 miles or something. It's long, but a child can do it because it's a downhill grade. There's very little uphill ever.
Yeah.
And it's just so totally pleasant. Well, while we were there, we went to a silver mine. And as normal humans would, we went like 200 feet into this silver mine. That's it. That's really, if you're in it for any other reason, you better own it.
And you've already seen everything you're going to see in the first 200 feet.
Well, and fun fact, a lot of people don't know this, but silver looks impossibly not like silver. It's dark, dull gray. It in its there's certain different forms of it, but the majority of silver that's extracted from silver mines doesn't look like it. It blows my mind that silver that we use for jewelry and everything, somebody found this dark, dull gray rock, and they're like, wonder if we could like go through a severe process of smelting and chemical compositing to turn this into a shiny metal. It seems impossible in my brain that it ever happened.
Well, but even pure silver, you have to keep polished, or else it just
tarnishes.
Yeah, it just turns brown.
So we're like 200 feet in, maybe 300. I don't know. Daylight's gone, right? And so it's just and it's well lit. It's this little tour we're doing. And the guy was talking about the risks of being in and the precautions that miners have to take, and adults. Ba-dunts.
Ba-dunts.
But so we're in here, and it's got the lights along the cavern walls, and he has us all put these little headlamps on. He's like, now I want to show you what happens when we turn all the lights off.
Mhm.
And I kid you not, we turn the lights off. It's like, you hear all the lights go off, and then he's like, now if everyone can please turn their headlamps off. Everyone turns their headlights off, and then you hear, and and this lady's like, honey, and he turns his headlamp on, and he's like, oh yeah, forgot to mention, I usually mention that before we turn the lights off. The pitch black nature of a cave can be disorienting. And it's true. When
Yeah.
those lights went out, it was like I just suddenly lost the ground and I was floating in space. It was so disorienting to have zero light reference. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
That's scary town.
There's if anyone's ever been to the island of Kauai, there's a tubing experience you can do where it's through an old sugarcane plantation, and they had actually carved out through the mountain canals, like water canals that they would use to irrigate the fields. Well, now you can tour those on a float tube. So like you can get in the canal and go through all these, like you're going through all these caves, right? Like man-made tunnels. And there's one that's like a mile long. It's the longest, like you're going through the middle of a mountain, like just a tunnel on a tube. And like it's the same thing, like, but you're floating, and then they're like, "Hey, everyone, turn off your lamps at the same time," and it's the same thing. It's just you're literally half a mile into a mountain, floating on this tube, and the lights cut out, but you're floating, and it's like it's like, am I in outer space? Like, am I flying through outer space right now?
No reference.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest feeling. It feels like somewhere humans shouldn't be, and so you gain a little gratitude for those people that are doing it, for you.
I will say, if you do one excursion on that island, do the float. The float, like it's the coolest thing, and you get lunch. They give you part of your excursion is they provide you lunch.
Yum.
Yeah.
Hey, so is the water fed from the ocean?
No, it's just a river. Like,
okay,
it's just
I
a
was gonna say,
river,
that would
but
be
it's
bad for crops.
but it's flowing through. It's cutting through. Like they man-made these canals, right? So the canals are man-made, but it's river water. Like they just harness that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it's ocean, that tour has certain tidal times where you're like, it goes from being a float tour to a scuba tour.
Yeah, and it's proper. It's on private property. The company that does the float tour, they don't even own the property. It's one of the original founders of Microsoft. He bought. It's something like 1,000-acre property, and it was one of those things where he put like a 200-year trust on it. So like you can't build anything on it for 200 years. So it's just all natural, like nature's taken back over, except for these canals, and you can just go. So you're like in the middle of like beautiful, untouched. There's like nothing around. There's not like businesses and crap. It's just you're just floating through the wilderness in a man-made canal. So it's like it's nice. You don't have to worry about gross stuff. It's just a cool experience.
It's one of the only places, maybe New Zealand rivals it, where you could buy 1,000 acres and the majority of it is vertical.
Yeah.
Like the majority of it is vertical mountains of Mordor, like unusable, like razor cliffs. And you don't really see that on the map. It's just like, oh, that island looks quaint. And, all the travel photos are on the beach, but then they don't tell you about the fact that half of the island is built less like a beautiful sandy beach and more like a chic razor.
Yeah. Well,
it's crazy.
That's how it is. Like where I live, we were like, for a minute, we were looking at like buying houses, and there's like, oh, this is a 5-acre property. And then you go there and the house is literally on the only part of the property that you could put anything on.
That's
and
flat.
Everything else is at least a 45-degree angle,
it's
if
wild.
not more. And it's just like, you're like, oh, I have 5 acres. And then you're like, oh, but the usable is literally measured in square feet.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just like, wait, what? Or you're just like
So
20
crazy.
acres and there's maybe a quarter of an acre that you can actually put a building on.
I
And
still
so,
chuckle about home share, Airbnb type of stuff over in Hawaii where the the state government requires that if you're going to rent a room, you have to the owner has to be they have to be there
mhm,
when you're there. So like there's no real privacy when
yeah.
you like you wake up in the morning and some old man's like, "Hi." Or a way they've gotten around, and I love this. At first I was like, that looks like really like I don't know how I feel about that. But there's huts and like rundown rundown shacks that you
Mm,
can rent. They cost as much as like an Airbnb in Montana,
yeah.
but like a full Airbnb, but it's a shack and the only source of power is a generator.
Yep.
And I'm not talking like they show you. It's like one they just wheeled like a couple 100 feet away into the woods, you know.
Yeah.
It's
If you
hilarious.
go look on like VRBO or Airbnb in Hawaii, some of them are literally, it's literally like a truck with a camper tent on it.
Yeah. It's crazy because they can get around the fact that the owner doesn't have to be on site
Yeah.
with the generator. Like they're like, okay, well, technically this isn't a house because it's got a portable power. However they do it.
Yeah.
Hawaii is just it's its own place. Actually, I've been thinking a lot about Hawaii and like New Zealand. Like I'd love to go to New Zealand. I'd like to go and oh, my buddy sent me a picture the other day. He went hunting there, and it's landlocked. Like it's no, it's ocean locked. Is that the way to put it?
Yes.
So the animals
It's an
there have
island.
no. You're either going to live or you're going to die, and if you're going to live and thrive, you're probably going to get crazy, scary in one way or evolutionarily or big or like the elk on that island
Mhm.
are on another level. They look like they're from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And I've been thinking wistfully about that place. The flip side of that, and it's weird that it does this, but New Zealand breeds monster creatures. Hawaii breeds
Tiny.
tiny stuff that you're like, it's either cute or you're like, that's going to kill me. But on the cute side,
Yeah.
you've got things like the axis deer,
Yep.
which is, I don't know, just a little bigger than a bunny. Now, I mean, it's like the size of a medium-sized dog, adorable. And I've seen videos of like hunters shooting. I'm like, what would you shoot that thing with? With like a wad of wrapper out of a straw? It's
Yeah.
so small.
That's where it's like you can finally use your 22 to take down a deer.
I guess. And then why? Because like you can't say it's meat in the freezer. It's like you get more off of a, lizard on the side
chicken.
of the road. Off a chicken, yeah.
Yeah.
Axis deer. Also doesn't, I don't know why. It just, the flavor could not compel me beyond its adorability.
Yeah.
They would keep their lives because I'm like, you can't taste good enough to cut,
One
for me
cool
to
thing about them
justify.
though is all of their antlers are always the same. Where it's like with mule deer and elk and all that stuff, like each one has like its own. They're all similar, but they're all different, right? Like you can
Yeah,
tell them by you can tell an elk by its antlers. Like you can see, like, oh, I know that elk because I've seen it before because of its antlers.
right.
But with axis deer, they all look the exact same. Like
That's
all their
wild.
antlers look the exact same. There's no difference. They all have the same amount of points. They all like all the time. There's like once they start growing those antlers, they're all the exact same as, their dads or their grandpas or.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm not being sexist. Only boy deers can grow antlers. Okay.
Cervid antlers are wild to me because you're right in the fact that I know guys that they'll go out and glass or they'll
Mhm.
scout their hunt location and dedicate like I just wish more people understood that 99% of the people hunting are meat in the freezer people and 1% of them are trophy people, but the trophy people are the ones that get, the headlines and
Yeah.
everything like that. But I know guys, I know this one guy named Travis Nowotny, and he owns a company called Goat Knives. And I've never met a man who is more dedicated to the art of the hunt. Man will disappear he's got a job that affords him the ability, but he'll disappear and he'll just go. He knows the routes of the deer or the elk that he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna hunt the next year.
Yeah.
And barring like massive weather changes or whatever, he shows up and the crazy thing about him though is because for those, some people don't know, but elk, deer, speed goats, antelope, they shed
Yeah.
their antlers,
Mm-hmm.
and every year. So, but what's wild is when the new ones grow back, they grow the
The
same
same.
shape, the same, not dimension. They get bigger every year. But if it's a typical deer, which means it's got a normal set of points, they show up in the same formation as the last time. But that's so weird because two holes on their heads know how to grow outward into ethereal three-dimensional space the same way every year, just a little bigger. I don't understand it, but it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I
love
have.
that.
I'll try to find the picture. I have pictures of shed antlers I found in the exact same spot, and you can tell one was from that year, and one was from the previous year, like by the
'Cause of the
coloring of it.
coloration.
But
Yeah.
it's just the one's a little bit bigger because it's the same pattern. They just get bigger as they get older, and so
Yeah.
like I'll try to find the picture and maybe post in the Discord of the exact same antler side by side, like just from different years. I found it in the like same, and they'll get in the same areas, right? That deer will just they'll migrate along the same paths. So it's like you can get in there, and that's how they follow some of these things. And then yeah, you can find multiple different years of their antler just as they grow. It's just boop, boop,
It's
boop.
crazy. So
Someone
weird.
asked what a speed goat was. It's an antelope.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Antelope.
Because I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure antelope are the fastest animals on the continental United States. Like
I wouldn't be surprised.
their top speed is the fastest of any animal, like ground animal. I'm not talking about peregrine falcons.
Yeah.
We're just talking about animals running. Antelopes are the fastest in the like continental U.S.
I've got another buddy. His name's Ransom Smith, and just apex human. Like lifts, I don't know, 400 plus. He's a mountain. Works. He's a oh no, life on the line. What is he?
A lineman.
Lineman. Like he was a lineman. He like maxed out on being a lineman. Then he was like, I'm gonna go teach this. So he goes and he teaches at the lineman college. Then he goes back out. He's back out, leading linemen on the line. And when he's not doing that, he's the kind of like, I'm the kind of hunter where I leave camp, hike to a destination, and I may have 2 or 3 spots where I'm going to sit and maybe move around a little, but I'm like, get in my spot and glass, which means you get out your spotting scope or you're looking, get there early, watch the pattern. That's me. Ransom is the kind of guy where he goes and he's like, I wonder what's on the very top of that mountain. And then he just goes there. And then he gets to the top of that mountain. He's like, I wonder what's on that other mountaintop that's taller, but I have to go all the way down this mountain and up the next one to get. And so he's just always on the move. And I don't like going with hunters like that because they always well, not always, but they're very mobile. They'll go where what they'll do is they'll get on top of something and they'll glass like 3 miles away, 2 miles away. They'll be like, I see a herd or I see coloring that direction. And then they just go there. Like it could be in another state for all they know. But I remember him telling me, he was like, I went speed goat hunting, which around here, at least, you go to the desert kind of area and you see them. But they are not, they do not sit still.
No,
even
they
when
don't.
they're not being chased or anything. And their traffic pattern is so broad and so fast that even Ransom, my buddy, was like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't, it just takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
And they're not as predictable. Like you can't be like, yeah, so I went and glassed my area last month. I know, they're basically right here and this is the pattern. Here's where the water is, so I know they're no.
Yeah. No.
Speed goats are like, I don't know, I'll probably be in Nevada tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll catch you.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Who knows where I'm gonna be at any? Not even I
Who
know.
knows?
I just
Yeah,
start running. I hit 60 miles an hour, and then I just get where I'm going.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. Like, they also, in that regard, seem transient enough that they're like, home? What's a home? I don't know. I just not compute. I don't know. I'll just lay down wherever I find, something. Oh, well, anyway, enough about hunting.
Hunting,
What,
fishing, and living every day.
we talked about your finger.
Yeah, I talked about my finger.
I've lost 30 pounds.
I lost 0.001 pounds.
Yeah, you did. Your ring finger. No, listen,
Instantly.
Ring finger? Yeah. Right.
Yep, that's my ring finger.
I did something yesterday that I was a little afraid of. You'll notice
I was gonna ask if you got your hair's cuts.
I cut my hair and I went with a 1 but then I came down into my beard with a 1 and I was a little worried about it because I never shave my beard down too much because I tell people that I look like the Cheeto Fingers toy collector from Toy Story. I get a little too cherubic, but I actually have a bit of a jawline again.
It's coming.
Now that I'm losing weight, and so I don't. And my wife was like, "I really like it." I'm like, "You're not just saying that," because I'm convinced my wife, who, if you've ever met my wife or seen my wife, she's a freaking smoke show. Like, I still don't believe that she's my wife. I don't. Like, I'm pretty sure that I am in a Truman Show. I am special needs, and everybody just lets me believe she's my wife.
Or
like,
everyone
that's really,
thinks you have blackmail on her.
yeah, something, right? And so she's like, "No, you look good. It looks good." And I was like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "No, I really." And she even she's like, kids, and she brought the girls, and she's like, "Look at your dad's new face." So
I remember
I lost 30 pounds so far.
Just on that same, I remember my dad growing up, he always had the goatee, like the full, not just the chin, like the full goatee.
Yeah.
And he had it for, I don't know, like 10, 12 years. And then one day he shaves it off and he walks in and everyone looks at him and goes, "Grow it back."
Grow it back.
And then we just turned back to what we were doing. He doesn't have it anymore. But yeah, that was one of the funniest things. He's like walks in all proud and everyone's just like, "No, put it back. You gotta go put it back."
I've thought about, I'm almost all gray when I get the beard down this low. Like, you can't tell. I'm more white than my mustache it's coming in though. I've been tempted to try, and maybe I'll do it for Christmas because I'll try to pull off like a Santa kind of thing. I've been thinking about going silver, like just dyeing my hair and my beard, my mustache and everything silver, and going that route. And maybe rebranding myself for the next round of my life now that I'm 50. I've thought about that.
Do it.
But there's thousands of hours of me online, so people will be like, "No, look, yeah, that on Tuesday he was salt and pepper, and now he's trying to pull off that he's Jack Frost." Don't believe it. I don't know.
Just say you had a life-altering event that can cause your hair to turn colors.
I saw a ghost.
Yeah.
Or an angel.
Ghosts.
What'd you bring today?
So I brought something positive and uplifting because sometimes life sucks. So we need some good things that happen. So we're talking about little kids who were heroes.
Aw.
And I've talked about pizza delivery heroes, but these are kids. And the oldest one today is 13 years old. So that's the oldest. Our oldest hero today is only 13 years old. So these are kids who do crazy, heroic things, stuff that, some adults wouldn't even be able to do because, adults are the worst sometimes. And I think you've already covered one of these cases on one of your 911 happy endings. But, and people have probably heard these stories before on social media, on Instagram. But these little kids deserve all the recognition they can get for what they've done. So there's not enough you can't talk about them enough. And, just helps out other little kids want to be heroes too, and not just
Yeah.
put on a Superman cape and jump off the banister kind of heroes. So, first one is a pretty popular one. I'm sure most people have heard about this because the video went all over social media and made the rounds. Dylan Reeves. His name's Dylan Reeves, 13-year-old, 7th grader, Warren, Michigan. And this is from April 26, 2023. Sorry, not 2013, 2023.
Not to be confused with Dylan Roof.
Yes. So, when I was 13, I was wearing zip-away pants, the ones that turn into shorts.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all you need to know about how I was when I was 13, how dumb I was. But this is just a regular Tuesday for Dylan. He's just sitting on the bus, going to school. All the other kids are staring at their phones. Dylan doesn't have a phone. Dylan's just likes, enjoying life firsthand. And he's just chilling, just hanging out. No one's talking to him because they're on their phones. But he's just like living life. And the bus driver, she's feeling hot. And not like she's ready to go out and get a new man type of hot. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, I don't feel so good. And my body temperature is rising extremely quickly. So she actually calls a dispatcher. She says, I'm dizzy. I'm going to pull over. You need to send another driver. Like, I can't drive. I don't feel safe driving right now.
Oh, wow.
And so 15 seconds later, as she's like starting to pull over, trying to find a place to pull over. I mean, it's a school bus. They're gigantic. She starts literally shaking, and then lights go out. She's out. And the bus just starts drifting into oncoming traffic. And so here's a question. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you on public transportation?
I've had some scary ones. The two that come to mind, one of them I've talked about is when we caught the little girl running down the freeway,
Mm-hmm.
and her and her mom had been in an accident. Her mom was dead in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, well, you got to come with us, kid. And, we were like, oh, poor girl, so we have her, we're going back to the car, and it was like, okay, we got to stay here, but you're here. Well,
Yeah,
let's
you
stand
can't-
20 feet away. It was
Yeah, you
not
gotta
good.
stay over here.
And then the other one was hunting one time on a snowy mountain and trying to do the mountain roads. And the snow was like, I'm going to be 6 feet deep.
Yeah.
And just navigating the truck, trying to get from not dying. That
Yeah.
was nail biting,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say. Those two things probably.
But yeah, so Dylan's on this bus, and he goes, hey, the driver's not awake right now, and the bus is
Yeah.
going into oncoming traffic. So pretty scary. Like that's enough to make some people just literally freeze up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But Dylan, he's like, nah, I got this. So he jumps up, runs up to the front of the bus, grabs the wheel, starts steering it back into the lane. And then like there's a video of this because the buses have the cameras on them.
Yeah.
And you just see him stick his foot in there, hits the brake, slows the bus down, pulls it off to the side of the road, just like a boss.
Wow.
Just stops the bus. Everyone's okay. Because, yeah, Dylan is just like, I got this. Jumps up, stops the bus. And that's it. Like, no injuries, nothing. Bus driver, even survived. They don't even say what was wrong. Probably a HIPAA thing. But, yeah, just saved. DJ asked how old he was. He was 13 years old. 7th grade.
See, I'm always impressed with that kind of, I don't know. There's just something. I wouldn't even say that the kid was like, I don't want to go out this way.
Yeah.
It's just more like, he was just see something, do something kind of,
Yeah.
I love that.
And also, while he was stopping the bus, he was telling everyone who was on their phones, call 911. And luckily one of them did. So, like, he literally just took complete control of that situation, just owned it. It was just like, no, this is my time. You call 911. I'm stopping this bus. Everyone, we're getting out of this alive. Wow. So that was Dylan. Super cool kid. Next, we go from Dylan to Owen. Owen Burns, 13 years old, and he's from Alpena Township, Michigan.
I hope this isn't about fire.
No, it's not. Well, kind of. You'll see why.
Okay.
Michigan, May 10th, 2023. So his mom, Margaret, goes to visit some family down the street. So he's at home. He's 13 years old. He's in his room doing 13-year-old stuff. His 8-year-old sister's in the backyard, and she's mushroom hunting. She's just being her little outdoorsy self, looking for mushrooms in the yard. And Owen, he's just playing video games in his room, and all of a sudden he hears his little sister scream. And he thinks that she's just like playing around. She's 8 years old. Maybe one of her friends came over, and they're just, little kids sometimes just, make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And then they scream for no reason. Then he hears her scream again. And he's like, that's not a play scream. That's like I'm terrified scream. So he looks out his bedroom window and he sees some guy walking, because like their backyard borders the woods. And so some dude literally just walks out of the woods into the backyard going right at his little sister.
Oh.
And the guy grabs his little sister and he's trying to like cover her mouth. He has an arm around her. He's trying to drag her back into the woods. And Owen is looking out his bedroom window going, what in the hell? And so Owen looks around his room. He's like, what can I do? Guess what his mom just bought him a little while ago?
A bus.
A slingshot.
What?
She was like, she was at the store and there was a slingshot on clearance for $3, because that's apparently important to the story. And it's not even like a super good slingshot. It's just like a $3 clearance slingshot. He grabs it. He has a marble and a rock, and he opens his window, and he freaking draws back, literally shoots the dude right in the face, right in the forehead.
Dang.
Just drills him with the marble. Then he has this rock, and as soon as the guy gets drilled in the forehead, he like kind of reacts and lets go of the sister. And so Dylan draws down on him again. Boom, pops him right in the chest. And the dude's just like, screw this, and he runs off into the woods. Like, and slingshots like in the movies, everyone always hits everything they're aiming at. But they're like, you got to have some practice with slingshots.
Super hard. Yeah, he risked dome piecing his sister or the neighbor's windows or an airplane. I mean, they're hard to shoot.
Yeah, so he drills this dude twice in a row. He has 2 shots, a marble and a rock, hits him both times. So then he calls police, and the police have, be on the lookout for this guy. They find him. And you know how they know it was him?
Yeah.
He had a big old goose egg on his forehead.
I was going to say, his forehead looked like a Titleist ball.
Yeah, so they go and they find this guy at a gas station, and he's got a big old monster goose egg like right in the middle of his forehead. And so they charge the guy, gets hit with attempted kidnapping, attempted assault to do bodily harm. Because this guy, when he gets caught, he's like, yeah, I was going to hurt that little girl bad. Like, he straight up admits it. Like, just,
yikes.
He's probably got some mental issues going on. But yeah, he's like, no, I was going to hurt her. Like, and so he gets assault and battery, attempted great bodily harm, and attempted kidnapping. So yeah, little 13-year-old Owen just goes all John Wick, just freaking blasts this dude twice with his slingshot, scares him off.
Good for him.
Next one is, I think this is the one that you covered on a happy ending, because this was a 911 call. And we're going to talk about Isla Glacier. She's 4 years old. Four. If you have kids, think about your 4-year-old and ask yourself if they could do this.
It could also be Isla.
Yeah,
I learned after doing the happy ending, it could be Isla, or Isla, depending on just really the parents' way of wanting to pronounce it. That's what I found.
So she's at home, 2-year-old sister, and 1-year-old twin brothers. There's just little kids everywhere. And Mom Haley collapses in the kitchen. Find out later she has a bacterial infection.
Oh.
Excuse me.
You know what I was thinking it was?
She
had a ton of kids. That's what I'd collapse.
Just
2 1-year-olds? What?
Yeah, general fatigue and just being exhausted. So Isla Slalas tries to wake her mom up, and her mom's not responding. So the 4-year-old goes and finds Mom's cell phone, calls 911. Like, I didn't even know my own phone number when I was 4, and, well, we also didn't have cell phones. So tells the dispatcher, Mommy fall down and she can't talk.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally a quote. Mommy fall down and she can't talk. Then she answers all the dispatcher's questions, gives them her home address, explains to the dispatcher, Daddy's at work, and she's with her 3 younger siblings, and the dispatcher keeps her on the line till help arrives, but when they get there, the door's locked. So they have to talk this little girl through getting a chair, climbing up the chair, and unlocking the door to let them in. And she does all of it. Just no questions, just boop, 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 unlocks the door. And she also quiets the barking dogs down when people are trying to get in to help her mom. So she's literally just like, well, this is my scene now, and I'm just going to take care of everything.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. While the paramedics are working on her mom, this little girl starts feeding her younger siblings breakfast and says, Mommy's going to be okay. And she's like literally comforting her younger siblings. Okay. And mom spends 4 days in the hospital, comes home just fine. And the police department gives this little girl a bunch of gifts, a pen, a challenge coin, a frisbee, and a hat. And they made her an honorary police officer for the day. And honestly, she probably deserved more like a college scholarship.
She probably deserved like at least a slingshot.
Yeah, at least a slingshot.
State funds and all, you know.
So next, we're going to go to an older kid. This one, she's 5 whole years old. A whole year older. So her name's Lexi Shemansky. This is in 2015. So she's in the car with her mom, Angela, and her 10-week-old brother, Peter, driving home from Calgary. And no, Lexi's not the one driving. Her mom's the one driving. The kids are asleep, including Lexi. It's a long car ride. Mom also falls asleep, just like her kids, but she's driving. And her SUV goes down a 40-foot embankment, hits a tree, flips, and Lexi wakes up because her baby brother is crying. Even though, and you're at the bottom of a 40-foot ravine. Mom's unconscious. Lexi can't wake up her mom. So this 5-year-old unbuckles herself from her 5-point harness, her car seat, pushes the airbag out of the way, kicks open the jammed door, and then climbs out of an upside-down car and up the 40-foot embankment barefoot.
Whoa, what a stud.
And like this is an embankment that the paramedics have to use rappelling equipment to get down later.
Wow.
So she gets to the road and she starts waving at cars, and luckily some people stop and help. Hopefully someone would stop for a random 5-year-old in the middle of the road.
Yeah, you'd think.
One guy, a guy who stops, he goes down and sees mom and baby, and his wife is trying to call 911, but there's no service because they're out in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Dang it.
So they start trying to flag down other cars, and more people stop, including a former paramedic, a retired paramedic. So he gets his first aid kit out of his car, and he goes down and stabilizes mom, makes sure baby's okay, until, the non-retired paramedics arrive. Mom has broken ribs, neck and back fractures, and internal injuries. Like, she spent 3 weeks in the hospital. The baby had brain bleeding and swelling and needed surgery.
Jeez.
And Lexi, she had a scratch on her chin and a sore neck. It's like, yeah, my neck's a little stiff from that one.
Little girl.
So mom had an undiagnosed heart condition. So that's, like, that was part of why she fell asleep. Like, it was actually a medical episode. It wasn't just she conked out, like, I'm tired of sleep. It was, like, passed out. But, yeah, if Lexi, like, she had to make that little trek to get out, and she did. And she got a medal from the Royal Canadian Humane Association, which is the least they could do for what she did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 5 years old. She's just out there saving her mom's life. Next, we're moving to a 7-year-old. 7 whole years old.
Okay.
This is in Oklahoma, Rock Creek. Rock Creek Trail, February 25th, 2023. So 7-year-old, he's got his 3-year-old brother, Riley, and they're with Grandma. Grandma's taking him out for a nice little hike with the dog. They're just walking in this park, and they're heading down this trail. Everything's just a wonderful little day. It's a little cold, but, that's how it is. The dog steps out onto a ledge on the side of a cliff, and Riley, the 3-year-old, he goes out with the dog and tries to get the dog, and he slips and falls, and he goes over the edge of this cliff, 100 feet, into 15-degree water, flowing river. Without thinking about it, 7-year-old Dakota just says, hold my root beer, hold my juice box, and he just jumps down there to get his little brother. He can't even pull Riley out of the water, but he's able to grab his little brother and hold his head above water while Grandma calls for help. So park rangers, luckily, are really close 10 minutes, they're there, which is actually a good response time when you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So then first responders, they actually get like someone with medical training out there 6 minutes later. Both kids end up in the hospital. The smaller boy had to get life flighted out because he took a worse fall and being in the water. So Riley is Riley's the little kid. He had 2 broken ribs, fractured wrist, and a bunch of face injuries and head injuries. So that's why they had to life flight him. And Dakota has cuts from jumping down the cliff. He's the one who saved his little brother, but he's out of the hospital in 2 days. Both little boys are fine, but yeah, he literally jumped over, grabbed his brother, kept him from getting carried away down the river. Do you think, so this is a question, do you think 7-year-olds can understand this concept of sacrifice? Or was this just instinct?
I will say, like, I think humans are wired one way or the other. I think some of it has to do with upbringing. Some of it has to do with just how they're inherently wired, as an individual. Fight or flight is definitely a thing. I don't think in the moment they understand sacrifice as much as they understand right and wrong, and they understand threat and safety.
Yeah.
And I think we all kind of fall into that category of some of us, maybe, some people run and tell, and some people run in too, and help, and I think we're all, I don't know. It would be cool if all of us had like a series of tiny events in our upbringing that helped us, sort of like a life ASVAB test, which it's going to hit you like a fire drill. No one's going to tell you when it's going to happen, but there's a fake, bleed out or a fire or a fake car accident. And we're going to test how you operate in those. Because wouldn't it be good to get that? And then you're like, and then the test takers are like, okay, so here's how you did in the fake scenario. It was fake. Oh, good, it was fake. And they're like, so also for the next 3 months, here's the training you're going to be going through to offset because you ran 3 miles away and then hid in a thicket.
Yeah.
It's
like, and yeah, like you said, you don't know until you're there. Some people react, some people overreact. Like, but you can't train. There's no amount of training. So one time, I used to drive delivery, like a box truck. And I did that for like a year and a half. And I had given my 2 weeks notice. It was literally my last week. But I had to wake up at 3 a.m, get to the warehouse at 3:30. And then I would drive from St. George, Utah to Page, Arizona. So it's like a 2.5-hour drive.
right.
Like at 3:30 in the morning. Well, my last drive out there, this was my last trip doing that run, and I fell asleep driving. And I woke up
while you were driving
a box truck, and I woke up because I was going off the shoulder, and I felt like I was falling, and it was weird because this is where I say like react versus overreact, because it's like you want to jerk the wheel, right, and get like, oh, the road's over there, I want to jerk the wheel, but like something in my brain was like, nope, if you do that, you're gonna roll, so you have to find the balance. And so I'm sitting there like thinking I'm about to die, but my brain is like, nope, like my brain wasn't letting my body do what it wanted. Does that make sense? My body wanted to overreact and just jerk the wheel as hard as I could, but somehow I was like, nope. And then I found the balance, and I just kind of slid down the embankment nice and slowly, and then came to a stop. And I was just like, what happened? Like, and I'm just like, I should have overreacted, but I didn't. And I was like, I don't know what kept me from doing that, but there was literally something, my brain was literally fighting me, going, nope, this is how you're going to do it. There you go.
Yep.
It's the weirdest feeling I've ever had.
There's that odd set of skills, I guess, that comes with, I'll say in general, the people that live in, I'm just going to call out a whole city because I've never seen a city respond to rain like Huntsville, Alabama, where everything is fine. But if it rains a little bit, you can expect, now again, granted, Huntsville has rain that is like, da na 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 na, Da-na-na-na-na. Like it will hit and it hits hard and it hits for like 30 seconds and then it's like tropical. It's weird. I think it has something to do with like it is a bit hilly in some places in Huntsville and also humid. But like I've never seen a place like this where it'll rain and then the moment it finishes raining, you start hearing ambulances. Like it's so uncanny how predictable it is, but I think a composition of I don't know. I really don't know what. One thing is the roads, the way they do the roads there doesn't cooperate with rain.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hydroplaning. There's a lot of like, what do I do now? But I do think there's a set of reflexes that they don't come inherent, right? And so when you hydroplane or you live in a really icy area and your car starts sliding, the thing to do is let go or loosen your grip. Don't try to steer it. It'll correct. The car will correct its steering when it's sliding. But it's so hard because it's the opposite of what you think you should do.
Yeah, you should always. And if you are going to steer, you always want to turn into it. But it feels like you're going to make it worse, right?
Right.
But
yeah,
that's where
101.
That's where your tires. You want to turn into it so that they'll start rolling. That's what you want. You want your tires to roll, and so you have to turn them the way, not against, like because your response is to turn it against and correct. But you have to do the opposite to get into it.
I would like to do a movie called Fast and the Furious North Dakota Drift because I'm convinced you could put a soccer mom from North Dakota into a drift car and throw her out on just any road in her neighborhood, and she would drift as well as everybody in Tokyo. It's impressive.
All right, so we have another one.
Okay.
Anaya Rucker, 9 years old.
What'd you say?
Anaya Rucker. That's her name. Anaya Rucker. 9 years old, Madison, Georgia. This is from 2011, February. So every morning, Andrea, Anaya's mom, stands on the porch and watches her daughters catch the bus. So Anaya has a sister named Camry, who's 5. This morning it's raining, speaking of rain, and Anaya is wearing a hooded sweatshirt. The sisters hold hands across the road. Anaya thinks it's clear, but there's a truck coming because, hoodies block your peripheral vision. And so she starts walking across the road with her little sister, but there's a truck coming.
Okay.
Anaya, at the last second, sees the truck coming and pushes her little sister out of the way and then gets hit by the truck.
Okay.
So she literally, instead of freezing up, right, she literally throws her sister out of the way of the truck. And mom races over. Anaya isn't breathing, has no pulse. And the school bus literally shows up right then. And the bus driver, they all are CPR trained. So she gets off the bus and starts doing CPR and revives Anaya, who ends up with a broken neck, a damaged spleen, loses a kidney, both her legs are broken, and she ends up losing her left leg entirely later from complications.
Really?
And after 3 weeks in the hospital, she comes home. Neighbors are lining the streets for her. They raise money. Probably people have seen this because she ends up getting on Extreme Home Makeover because she's, now missing a leg and has health complications. So she gets to meet Dwight Howard, the basketball guy who, an Extreme Makeover, they help, fix the house to make it more accessible for her. But she just, she didn't care. She just pushed her little sister out of the way and took it like a champ.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's another thing you can't really, learn that. It's just something you do or you don't do. Just I can't make it, but I can help someone else make it.
Yeah, and that's the kind of math you can't do from the sidewalk,
Mm-hmm.
It's and I'm not even quite sure you're doing the math until it's that your effort is done and you're like, well, this is where I'm at.
Yeah. So that was my spiel on little kid heroes. Just
I like
little kids who deserve the world and more. Oh, also Anaya, I'm pretty sure she got a 4-year scholarship to anywhere she wants to go.
Okay.
So Another cool thing, just helping out people helping
I love
people
it.
to helpings. What did you bring today?
I brought I brought a couple things. I don't know why. I was like, you know what? I'm going to bring a couple things. So the first one is going to shock you because you've heard of, especially like there's places in the Badlands in the US where it seems like at some point in an era bygone, someone sent an invite to all the tyrannosaurs in the North American continent. It was like, hey, we're having a family reunion. You guys should come. And they all went there and they're like, what's a bright light in the sky? Poof, you know,
Poof.
because the Badlands, it's like there was a tyrannosaur convention and then they were like, or it was a cult, a tyrannosaur cult. And they were like, hey, everybody, drink this. Drink this. Because they all just like, ugh, at the same time. It's really weird. So,
Someone
but for
hit the
over
power button.
yeah. And they're big and they're durable. It's interesting and kind of wild where you see these collections of tyrannosaurs, right? So for over a century, tyrannosaurs have held the throne as the most terrifying predator ever, obviously. We think, you know, it's the one that's made it into the movies and everything. Recently, you know, it's got some competitors.
Mhm.
But you know, there's just something kind of cool about an animal with razors in its face and its head is the size of a truck.
Yes.
You know, also the comically tiny arms. It's like, who made this? What happened? Did they go on lunch break during the arms part and then the delivery car came and they just shipped it? Recently, though, there's been a shockwave in the paleontology world suggesting that our favorite lizard king hasn't always been quite what we thought. So scientists have announced that a surprising number of fossils once hailed as T-Rex may actually belong to an entirely different species. Yeah, over decades, fossil hunters in the Badlands and deep canyons throughout North America and other places, they've unearthed bones and then they've assembled the skeletons under the roar of public T-Rex mania. But new research is showing that some of those trophies that they've pulled out of the earth, they actually belong to close cousins who are kind of imposters hiding in plain sight. So it turns out that Tyrannosaurus wasn't the only mega predator prowling North America 66 million years ago. That'd be the Cretaceous period. It was full of a bunch of lookalikes too. There were some chonky boys that looked like T-Rexes, but they were chonkier. Some were thinner, kind of more svelte, like kind of like a Victoria's Secret deadly version of a T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Some had odd-shaped eyes. There were just subtle like differences in jaws and teeth. With only a few scattered bones, though, it was really tough to tell who's who in the fossil lineup. So it's kind of a case of prehistoric mistaken identity.
Oh, okay.
So the question is, how did we get here? So early dinosaur researchers had a habit of naming new creatures for the smallest of differences. So there might be like a ridge here or a gap there, but captivity by T-Rex fever led to the opposite happening. So everything big and pointy-toothed got tossed into the T-Rex bin. Now, though, with modern tools like 3D scanning, statistical modeling, AI is factoring in, and kind of global fossil sharing, scientists are sifting out the real kings from the copycats. So some bones are chalked up as T-Rex, might be from contemporaries like Daspletosaurus or Gorgosaurus, or even newly identified genera no one's named yet. So imagine organizing a dinosaur reunion, like I mentioned, and realizing that half of the guests that show up to the reunion weren't even on the original invite list. It's embarrassing for paleontology, but it's also huge. So T-Rex isn't going extinct from textbooks or movies anytime soon because of the discoveries. The king, he still reigns, don't worry, people, but his legacy is a little less crowded now. So this discovery means North America's ancient ecosystems were actually a lot more diverse than we thought, and possibly more dangerous than we ever thought. I kind of like thinking about that now. I mean, it's one thing to know a bunch of T-Rex are running around, but then there's also like, that tells you how plentiful the big food must have been for all of these big monsters to just be lurking around. So you picture a land where there's multiple giant predators. They're fighting each other, they're hunting each other and hunting other things. And sometimes they stole each other's lunch, which is oftentimes where they find the dead ones. Because if you think about when a predator is at highest risk of being unalived itself, it's when it's standing on food, you know? So,
well, and it just put out a bunch of energy to bring down another large animal. And so it's just just expended a bunch of its own energy. So now it's tired. And so another one's just woke up from a nap. It's like, okay, I'll fight you now.
Yeah. And we know that there are some, it's really hard to say, but we know that there are some dinosaurs that probably hunted in packs. The jury's out on whether or not T-Rex or the T-Rex types were pack hunters. But one thing is for sure, to take down a big prey like a brontosaur or anything like that, something that would have been in their time period, couldn't be taken down. What's the one with the big frill? Why can't I think? Big frill on its head.
The Triceratops?
Triceratops. Not taking down Triceratops because they didn't even live during, the
same period.
But you're taking down a brontosaur, like you said, and you're worn out. You're a gorgosaur and you're gorging on your gorgosaur dinner, and suddenly, some other big predator is like, I'm a little bit bigger than you. I'm taking over. And so then you have a dead brontosaur, and then you have a dead gorgosaur right there, and double the food for whatever was bigger and
double mint gum. Oh,
yeah, exactly. It's kind of a blockbuster in the making if you think about it. So we're sort of in a T-Rex remix. So if nothing else, this twist should be kind of a reminder that science is never finished, which I think we've lost a bit of sight on lately in politics and in society, where like science is settled. That phrase should never exist.
A real scientist would never say that.
It really can't. It's on the flip side, it'd be like a religious person saying, we completely understand God now. Like it's not possible. Imagine, here's another way to look at it. Like if you're the science is settled type of person, imagine grabbing anyone that you want to know and saying, tell me everything. And they told you as much as they possibly could about their life. And then you're like, well, that's everything. That everything? And they're like, yep. And in your head, you'd be a fool to go, they told me everything about their life. It's just not possible. Not possible. And just rewind, I don't know, a week in science or a year or 5 years. Science isn't settled. So when you're saying science is settled, you're saying, shut up about the current thing that I don't want to hear your opinion on is really what it is. Zahi Hawass is losing his career because of this kind of thing. He's like, Egyptology is baked. We have all the answers. No, you don't. No, you don't. Super don't. Yeah. So it's uncertain about what today holds for T-Rex versus, let alone tomorrow's funky fossil footnote that's going to be showing up. So next time you see a towering T-Rex skeleton, take a closer look because parts of it might be his cousin, his rival, or an ancient dino you've never heard about, but you'll probably soon be fascinated by, because sometime in the near future, they're going to be like, here's the Chaseosaurus. And then you're going to go back to the museum and you're like, where'd that bone, why that bone looks newish? And they're like, yeah, well, we had to replace it because the one that was on the T-Rex was actually a Chaseosaurus femur. We just didn't know it at the time. So
I
here you
hate when
go,
people
T-Rex.
put other people's femurs where mine's supposed to be. It's the
Exactly.
worst. It's actually,
I thought that was quite interesting.
I like dinosaur stuff. Southern Utah is a hotbed for dinosaur stuff.
Yeah.
Because of the sandstone and all that stuff. Like, you could drive 15 minutes from my house out in the middle of the desert. There's dinosaur tracks everywhere in the sandstone. Like, just, there's like nothing, like they're not in a building. Like, you can literally just go out, touch them, and walk all over them. And there's just a little sign that just is like, hey, these are dinosaur tracks. Don't drive your car on it. And that, you know what I mean? Like, and you can, that's it. It's just out in the middle of nowhere. And you can just go check them out and look at, footprints of dinosaurs in the sandstone that they walked on there when it was mud, and then it just turned into sandstone eventually. And they'll be
crazy.
gone someday just because of erosion. And like, they showed up because of erosion. Like, something broke at the right plane and sloughed off, and you see this footprint, and it's going to be gone. And there's probably more underneath it, more all over the place that are still buried, and you'll just find them later. So it's just really cool.
I think, like, akin to the science is settled, though, there are some amazing telltale signs that the Earth it can't hide. The Earth has a tendency to be like a croissant where it's layered, and it inevitably will be layered, and there's going to be turbulence within the layers and everything. But I'm just always fascinated by, they'll go out in the Badlands and they'll dig down 18 feet, and the side of the wall from where they dug is just colored and layered. And one of the really disturbing things, because those layers all they don't just show like a lot of boring history where sediment just, built up over time, but there's a couple places, especially in those Badlands records. And then what's creepy is you go there and then you go down to like Georgia, and then you go down even further, like into Florida, dig a hole, and their strata may look different. The layers may look different, but what's disturbing is there's a layer that is typically somewhere between a couple millimeters thick to an inch thick that is black. And when you start thinking about what that means, is that was absolute catastrophe on the Earth. And we're starting to learn about it. Some of it is, they think, akin to, or associated with what's called the Younger Dryas, which was about 11,500 years ago-ish, when you had two unbelievable forces sitting on the Earth at the same time. You had 2 miles thick ice, and everything else was on fire. And like, it's so bad that black line is found everywhere.
It's found
Dig
in the
a hole.
ice. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you'll
found
find
in the
it.
ice.
Yes,
Yeah.
you'll find it in the ice even. Where, so that's crazy. Like, the Earth is like, I really can't hide the fact that I almost was ended.
Yeah.
Or I ended everything on the surface at this point here, and right here was really rough, and it's
We're
pretty
almost
crazy.
closer to Mars than you think.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the Earth has been Mars sometimes,
Well,
almost.
The other one is Venus, right? Like, I guess that's what they call Earth's twin, because it's almost the exact same size. And it has a lot of the same similar makeup and stuff, but it's just poison.
Just a different point on the timeline, possibly.
Yeah.
I saw this thing the other day, and this was a little bit eye-opening. It was like, what if the sun turned off? What would happen? And so it goes, okay, so the sun turns off. Well, the first 8 minutes would be fine. Everything would be the same. And then it was like quickly, and then it was it went over a period of days and then weeks and then months, what would happen, and the Earth would start freezing very quickly.
Mhm.
It would freeze over. Because of the freezing, we would lose atmosphere,
Yeah.
because atmosphere requires, our atmosphere in particular requires organic material to be producing the elements that are in our atmosphere. It's a very interesting and wild symbiosis, right?
Mhm.
Here was what was crazy though, is it fast forwarded, I think it was like, it wasn't long. It was like a decade maybe, or maybe longer. The Earth is just an ice ball at that
Mhm.
point, and there's very little life. Any life that has figured out how to survive lives underground. And then it was like, no, let's turn the sun back on. So it turns the sun back on, and then it fast forwarded like 100 years, and it was like the Earth is only increased in temperature by like 0.2 degrees in 100 years, because the Earth is an ice ball. It reflects all the heat. It
Yeah.
retains no heat. So once you've reached a certain level of frozen without an atmosphere on a planet, you're done. It's
Mhm.
done. I mean, it could be billions of years before the Earth thawed out.
Mhm.
It was crazy to see how quickly it changed, but then how difficult it was to regain heat on
Yeah.
the planet. It was just a big reflector ball. Crazy.
It's just like when I go jump in the snow, I get really cold really fast. It takes forever to warm me back up.
It's exactly
It's the exact same.
like that,
Me and the world are the exact
Chase.
same.
Well,
Just what I'm trying to
especially
say.
if you take off all of your clothes and stand in front of a heater, your pale white skin is reflecting and blinding whoever you're
Everyone.
standing in front of.
Yeah.
So everyone is
Except for the
frozen
hairy
in
parts.
fear.
Except for the hairy parts. That's the parts you can look at.
All right. So a little bonus that I wanted to bring, just because I can't keep it to myself anymore. I thought this was so wild. So I mentioned it before. I mentioned it at the top of the show. There was a question that was posited in 1688 by a guy named Molyneux. William Molyneux asked
Maul and me?
philosopher Molyneux, Molyn everyone.
Okay.
William Molyneux asked philosopher John Locke whether a person born blind who distinguished objects such as a cube and a sphere by touch would be able to visually recognize them if they were to gain their sight at a later point in their life. So for centuries, philosophers and scientists and psychologists debated whether the brain holds innate concepts that can kind of transcend senses,
Mhm.
or if every concept is tied strictly to experience. So unless you've already Googled it and everything, what's your guess? What's your guess?
Well, my guess would be like here's my weird thought I have all the time that's similar is like colors. How do
Yeah.
I know that the same color I see? Like yeah, we both call it green, but
Mhm.
how do I know what I'm seeing is what you're seeing? Right? Like we just gave the same label to what we're seeing. Like maybe green to you looks what blue is to me, right?
Yep.
Like that could be a possibility. So that's so in the same thought process, it's just like I don't know, like if you feel a circle and you have no visual, like because if I feel a circle, I just immediately picture a circle in my head. But I don't know
Yep.
if that would be the same. Like I don't know how their brain would translate it, so I have no idea. I don't know if it would translate.
Well, you're not alone, because it's been a quandary for several hundred years now at this
Hmm.
point. Check this out though, just a little sidebar here. So, have you ever seen an artist's paintings and you're like, why does everything look that way? Like,
Yeah.
where you're like, it's not a like glitch in their brain, but you're like, why is everything so wild? Like, why are the colors so wild? Or why are
Yes,
the shapes weird?
I've seen a Salvador Dali painting. Yes, I have.
Yeah. So Salvador Dali's one of those where I'm like, it could be partially what he sees and partially like just how weird he is, you know?
Hmm.
But check this out. So this is a bit of a sidebar, but it's sort of related. So there's a couple artists. So Melissa McCracken, John Coulter, and Daniel Mullen are all artists. And they all experience something very wild called synthesia or unique perception. So it's where they translate music and sounds directly into flowing colors on canvas. So painting what they see when they hear music, for example. So Melissa McCracken did that. So she would paint what she sees when she hears music. It's very interesting to see because in a way you're like, that's not real, but check her crap out. Check her stuff out. Check her crap out. What's that? Check it out though. It's very interesting. Either she's really got a good gimmick going, or there's something to this, but there's enough artists that experience this that you're like, yeah, it's a thing. So Jack Coulter, he's a contemporary synesthesia artist who visually interprets sound as colors. He expressed his multisensory experiences through really abstract works. And then Daniel Mullen, he collaborated with synesthete Lucy Engelman to paint how she sees numbers, letters, and even time as distinct color patterns. So it's sort of like the other day when I was like, I don't know why Thursday, 7, the color orange, autumn.
Yeah.
Why they all feel the same to me. Like, why do those things all line up?
Yeah, and if you watch one of the greatest shows of all time, Love on the Spectrum, one on the newest season, one of the guys has synesthesia, and every color has a number associated with it in his brain, and it's always the same number associated with the same color. So it's like pink is always 11, and like I can't remember what he says, but it's like gold is always 1, and yellow is 8, and it's just like every time he sees a color, like there's literally numbers going. He's seeing it in numbers, right?
Yeah,
like that's just how his brain works.
It's wild. Then you move a little bit off of synesthesia to people that this is interesting. I love this kind of a thing because in our day and age, these people would be seen as like self-diagnosed TikTok psychologist results, like, but they didn't know any better. They didn't know it. So Joseph Mallord William Turner speculated to have developed color blindness later in life. And they think that probably influenced his atmospheric and really muted color palettes that you see in his later works. It's very interesting because if you look at Turner's paintings from early in his his painting career to the end, you see, like if you lined them all up, it'd be like somebody just faded the colors out over time.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Also, some of the most gripping paintings you'll ever see. Look up Turner. Just do Turner paintings, and you'll see like he's very well known for doing just very like almost apocalyptic skies, but a lot of seascapes, and just really gets me. I love his stuff. Very emotive. Clifton Pugh, he was a confirmed protanope, where he used red-green color blindness. So protanope is someone that can't see red or green. He structured his palette around browns and blues and creams, and then very sparse uses of greens and purples. So, and then that they're like, okay, so if this is a thing, then there must be a connection. We could go back in history and look at artists and we could probably tabulate a list of artists that are probably in that same category. So it's a ringer. Look at Monet. He saw colors differently. Mary Cassatt, Degas, William Blake. They were all thought to have some visual occlusion or some manipulation of the way that they perceived color or the world in order to to have that happen. So, all right. So rewinding it back to what I was talking about. So we fast forward to 2011, and researchers at MIT and Project Prakash, they had a rare opportunity to test the question whether or not blind people could identify shapes just by sight after being blind and only feeling through their whole world. What's up? What's going on? Can they or can't they? So they worked with 5 children in India who were aged 8 to 17. They were born blind from treatable conditions. After sight restoring surgery, the children participated in 3 clever little tasks using unusual shapes crafted from toy blocks.
Mhm.
So in the first test, children felt an object by hand and then selected the matching one by touch. So their success rate was over 90%. Okay. So touch. Feel an object in their hand, then select a matching one by touch. They lined it up 90% of the time. In the second test, they viewed shapes and then matched them by sight. And they again achieved high accuracy. But in the third and most interesting test, after feeling a shape, they tried to pick out the matching one by eyesight alone and barely did better than random guessing. Like, that's crazy. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's so wild. So the results stunned the researchers, and it supported Molyneux's suspicion that touch and sight are at first worlds apart in the mind, which isn't just metaphorically, they're literally operating in different areas in some cases. So the brain couldn't instantly translate tactile knowledge to visual recognition. It was as if the two languages, like touch and sight, were spoken by the brain, but there wasn't a dictionary yet that existed between them. So kind of what's really amazing about this is what happened next. So within just 5 days, without any special training, the newly sighted children's ability to transfer touch-based knowledge to sight skyrocketed from about 58% to over 80% accuracy. So this translation dictionary, once they were put in a scenario where they were tasked with doing it, with connecting those two senses, which they hadn't done before, nobody had sat them down and removed all of the visual, all the stimuli in their life and just said, here's a test, here, practice this. So it was like they're giving them a workout at the gym, but it's with their hands and their eyes.
Yeah.
So the translation dictionary was very quickly built as the brain learned to associate these once very separate sensory worlds. So it demonstrated that even in adolescence, the human brain retains striking plasticity and can rapidly develop entirely new neural connections for what they're calling cross-modal understanding. I thought that was wild.
Here's something else that's wild. Look at any object that's around you right now.
Okay.
Now think about licking it. You already know the texture of that object. Like, you already know what it's going to feel like on your tongue.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like, just look at anything and go, imagine yourself licking it. You already know what it's going to feel like on your tongue.
Why do I know that?
Like, if
You're
you're like to
right.
lick your pop filter, you already know what it's going to feel like. Your shirt, like, you already know what your desk is going to feel like. You already know what the wood behind you is going to feel like. You already know what it's going to feel like on your tongue. Isn't that creepy?
Yeah, that's weird because you're right. Like everything in this, here's the thing. I even have this picture, this little picture set of me and Mona when she was little, and I keep it here. I have a bunch of, I don't know if I can show it. I think I can. I have a bunch of like little notes from my girls all over this.
It's blurry,
thing.
but we get the gist.
You get the picture.
Yeah.
When I thought about licking the film, the picture, I know that because of the substrate, the coating on that my tongue would stick for a second.
Yeah.
I couldn't just lick it and slide. It'd be like, and then
Mhm.
why do I know that, Chase? Why do I know how to lick everything in my...
Like, you think about, like, licking your shirt, you already know that the first part's going to feel dry. Like, you know it's going to, like, you just know what it's going to do. You just already know.
Oh,
It's almost as if you've already licked every single object in that room.
In a way, you think about it, it's one of the first things we spend months and maybe years doing that growing up. We
Yep.
recall licking and sucking on everything.
Yep. Grabbing it,
I
put
still
it right
enjoy
in your
it.
mouth.
To this day. It's still
I had
a thing.
I had a roommate once, and he didn't know he did it till I pointed it out to him. It was the weirdest thing. Every time he would pick something up, he would smell it, and it was subconscious. He didn't even. I was like, one day I was like, "Why do you smell everything you pick up?" And he goes, "No, I don't." And I was like, "Yes, you do." And then for the rest of the day, he kept just going, "I hate you." And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because I never noticed that I did that, and now I notice it every time I do it." And he's like, "And I do it all the time." And I'm just like, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you." But yeah, he would just pick up something. Like, if he picked up a pen, he would put it up to his nose first. Or, like,
Yep.
he would just grab something and put it up to his nose and then use it. And I'm just like, "Why?" And yeah, he didn't even know. He had no idea he was doing it until I pointed it out.
It's funny when, like, guys that end up going on missions. I think this is true of it does not just missions, but like college roommates.
Mm-hmm.
We all fall in this category where we all think we're the normal ones until you get somewhere and people are like, "Why do you do that weird weird thing?" You know, like I had a missionary companion. Did that. He'd smell everything, but he knew enough not to just be like, you know,
Yeah.
he wasn't like going around, but what he would do is he would suddenly like touch something and then he'd bring his fingers to his nose and he'd smell his fingers to see if there were, but he did it to a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
but he did it so subtly and he was a popular guy too. So it wasn't like this was a quirky, weirdo social plebe, you know?
Yeah.
And I talked with him about it. I'm like, "Dude, you smell everything." He's like, no, I don't. And I'm
No,
like,
I
"Yeah, you
don't."
do." And we had the same conversation. I was like, "You always smell your fingers after you touch stuff." And he's like, "Whoa." He did this other thing, and this was too obvious to not notice. He knew he did this.
Uh-huh.
But at night, when he went, before he'd get into bed, he'd sit on the edge of his bed and grab his pillow and he'd put it on his lap. And then he would sit there and he'd brush his pillow off. He'd look for any little thing on his pillow, whether it was a hair or dust or lint or anything.
Uh-huh.
He would, and he'd do it for like 5 minutes, bro. Like this, he was fastidious about it. He'd do both sides. And I was like, why do you do that? And he's like, I can't imagine laying down and instantly my nostrils are right next to something that's just sitting on my pillow and I breathe and it breathed it in. And I was like, yeah. Also, do you, when you see sunlight coming through your window and you see the dust in the sunlight, do you breathe more shallow? He's like, yeah, I do. I'm like, isn't that weird? Because without the sunlight, the dust is still there. It's not
still
like
there.
it's attracted to it, but you think about that kind of, and then this was wild. Missionary reunion, which happens for missionaries. Sometimes we'll all like, you know, a handful of us would get together and just see what life had in store for us a decade later, who died, who got married, who didn't. He was there with his wife and I was like, okay, I got to ask you, does he still smell everything? She's like, oh my gosh, yes. And I was like, all right, now this is going to creep you out because I know his bedroom activities too. And I told her about the pillow thing. And I was like, does he still do it? She's like, he does it every single night. I mean, if you're a germ, if your brain logically says, well, this is the best way to mitigate things going up my nose, why would you're not going to grow out of that. You're not going to age out of that. It's just going to be, you're like, it makes sense. It does make sense, you know, but I'm not going to do it.
I used to work with this guy, and when we would go on like jobs where we had to stay the night at places, like working out of town jobs, we had always bunked together because we were like the closest in age. And it's when I learned, like, you know, there's like Instagram OCD, or people like, oh, I have OCD. All my books have to be alphabetical order. No, like I saw real OCD, and one of his things is if something didn't feel right when he picked it up, he would have to put it back down and pick it up again.
Really?
And he's like, I don't know what makes it feel right or feel wrong. I watched him for one time. We were trying to go out to our job site, like getting ready, and his wallet was on the dresser, and he picks it up and he kind of looks at it and he puts it down. And then he picks it up and he puts it down. And he picks it
Really?
up and he puts it down. 5 minutes he did that. And he'll literally do the Indiana Jones like hand thing in between. He'll like where he's like getting ready to do the switch on the idol, and then he picks it up and he kind of looks at it, and then he puts it down, and then he's doing that, and he's like, I can't stop. He literally couldn't stop. Like if you tried to stop him, he would get like almost violently angry. Like it was like that's when I was like, oh, that's a real OCD. Like where he couldn't help it.
Yeah. Also, the mass of that object is not going to change
No.
so suddenly it's acceptable. So there must be a tactile confirmation that he's looking for.
There's like something, and he even said that. He's like, I know that I do that. He's like, I just don't know why. And he's like, and if I don't put it down again, he's like, I will not be able to function properly. Like if it doesn't feel right when he and then finally, and he'd do that with tools sometime too. He'd pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up. Okay, now we can go. And it's just like, he's like, I know nothing changes.
Yeah.
He's like, I know that it's dumb. He's like, but I can't stop. He's like, I literally can't stop myself. And I'm like, oh, that's what real OCD is.
Yeah, and it is. It's obsessive, which means it doesn't always make sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have one that I can't help. And you can tell me all day long, it doesn't matter. But I don't know why I do this, dude, but not USB-C, not the little oval one, but the regular USB plugs, right?
Uh-huh.
You know how you go to plug it in and it's inevitably always turned the wrong way?
Yeah.
I get depression. It makes me depressed because in my head, I do mini contests with myself where I'm like, okay, if I plug this in and it's the right way, then the rest of my day is going to go well. Donk. No. And then
my whole day,
like it ruins me for a minute until I forget it. Right.
Yeah.
But like I'll walk away from it going, I'm the most unlucky person in the world. Nothing's ever going to change. And, I just, when I was a kid, there was a commercial, the Golden Grams boy. I don't know if you ever saw this, but it was for Golden Grams, and everything he did was perfect. So like the Golden Grams box was falling off the table, and he would kick the Golden Grams box with like the back of his heel like an afterthought, and it would float through the air and then slide right into the cupboard where it was supposed to go. And like everything was perfect. Everything he could do was perfect. And I always think in my head, I'm like, come on, be the Golden Grams boy, you can do it. And then I'm like, don't, it doesn't plug. I'm like, no, you're still an idiot. You're a loser. Worst. Oh man. Well, shoot. I think we've wrapped things up for the day. It's 2 hours. My wife is cleaning homes away from home, and that's 2 hours that my children have been working through the pile of cereal that I just poured on the ground.
Now someone's going to have to clean your home because you're children.
Yeah, yep. That's the truth. They mess it up without forethought because, like I've said, my wife is the human Roomba, and I can't process it because there is no guilt that is exuding from her while she's cleaning up messes. Like she just enjoys cleaning. It's super crazy, but there is no guilt. But that butts up against, I'll go in the house right now and they will have done 4 projects. They both eat like birds, but they have the intention to eat like kings. So they will have made 3 meals of stuff and there's a spoonful out of all of it. And I go and I'm like, what the hell, kids? Come on now. Your mom's going to be pissed off. And so I'm mad for an hour while I'm cleaning up and I'm enlisting their help. And they're like, we just can't wait till mom gets home because she's going to be fine with this. I'm like, that's the wrong attitude to have. You should be thinking of. And then she comes home and I'm exhausted. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I didn't finish cleaning everything. She's like, what are you talking about? And they're like, Mom, he made us try to clean all this. And she's like, well, you should clean up. And I'm like, but you never make them. It's partially your fault. You're creating Frankenstein children because you don't make them clean up them. It's so crazy to like. I'm on the weirdest end of this whole thing because, like, and then she totally changes my mind the other day. Well, this happened a little while ago. But she's like, I saw something online and it totally changed my mind when it comes to kids and messes. She says, imagine one day there won't be any messes to clean up. And it just like hit me right in the gut. And I was like, oh, okay, fine.
It's like the same quote when it's just like one day you pick up your kid for the last time.
Yeah,
and then
right.
You'll never pick him up again.
What if that was the opposite, though? And one day you picked up your child and you never put him down again. That'd suck.
Yeah.
We'd all remember it.
And then
no
we'd all
one would
look
be
like-
like, oh, yeah.
It all looks like Quasimodo.
Yeah. And the giant children we're all carrying.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we're just talking silly, so we should go. We should let people get on with their days. So love you, Chase.
Love you too. Love everyone who showed up in our back doors.
I don't know why. I guffaw about it all the time. We got 12 in the back door.
It's not just a number that we're making up. That's the actual number
It's
all
not.
the time.
I'm really tempted to do a fundraiser where we do an auction for 12 jerseys. I'll do it. I'll front the cash, come up with a really fun set of jerseys. Actually, we couldn't do 12 though. We'd have to do 14 because Apex Erica and Kylie are our apexes. So they get 00 and I don't know 0 and 00.
0 and 00.
Yeah. And then it would say Apex Erica, Apex Kylie on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would do 1 through 12. And I think we auction them off because we're only going to have 12 people do the auction, but we could use it as a fundraiser and then we could start a new thing, which is what did we buy with your money for us to eat or drink on the show?
Yes.
And then we would do that as part of the show. So anyway, all right, everybody, we love you. Thank you for being here, all 12 of you. It's so funny. Anyway, until next time, soup.
Bye, everyone. Bye.